A frequently asked question is, Greg, what's the difference between FHA and conventional? Sometimes people will call me and they'll say, Greg, I know I want to get an FHA loan, and they lead with that, which then I ask them why. So we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about the difference between an FHA loan and a conventional loan. And let me start with saying that both loans are excellent. They serve a different audience and a different purpose. Here's what I mean. First thing, on a conventional loan, something we'll get into in another video called DTI, debt to income ratio. The debt to income ratio on a conventional loan is going to be less than the guideline for FHA. Now, that means that if you're trying to buy a home and your debt to income ratio exceeds the conventional guideline, it's possible that it may fall right in line for FHA. Now, why would someone do one or the other? Well, it has to do typically with interest rate, with credit scores. So if you've got credit scores that are around 700, you're probably borderline both conventional and FHA. Now, why is it borderline? It's not that you can't get an FHA loan above 700 or you cannot get a conventional loan below 700, because you can in both cases. But where the difference comes in is what's going to be in the best interest to you from an interest rate perspective as well as a PMI perspective. So here's sort of a rule of thumb that many professional lenders will at least talk about. If your credit score is below 700, certainly if it gets down below 660, you're probably going to lean toward FHA. If you've got credit scores above 700, especially if you go above 740 or so, you're probably going to lean toward conventional. So why would somebody with a 760 credit score then decide on getting an FHA loan? Well, they might want to get an FHA loan because their debt to income ratio exceeds the guidelines for conventional. Then they fall into FHA. That's where your professional lender is going to guide you through the process. Remember in the previous video where I talked about the difference between a consultative lender and a transactional lender? A professional consultative lender is going to walk you through those options to help you as a first-time home buyer pick exactly the product that's going to best suit your specific needs. Now, one of the other differences is down payment. It's small, seems small, but 3% down for conventional, 3.5% down for FHA. But here's where it gets very different. There's PMI on both loans. FHA calls it something else. They call it MIP, but it's basically the same thing. Now, on conventional, when you put 3% down, you're going to pay PMI, but monthly PMI. On FHA, there's two, what they call MIP. There's upfront and there's monthly. The upfront is 1.75%. I know you're not going to remember that. Don't worry. Your professional lender is going to know and help you with that. But on FHA, there's 1.75% of the loan amount. That doesn't go to us, the lender. It goes straight to the Department of Housing and Urban Development. That's what they charge, 1.75%. So you walk into closing, you put down 3.5%, thinking you've got 3.5% equity in your house, when in fact your new loan, by the way, the 1.75 is financed into the new loan. You really don't have 3.5, you've got 1.75% equity. Big difference between FHA and conventional. Conventional, you put down 3%, walk away from closing, you have 3% equity. So you put down 3.5% on FHA, walk out of closing with equity of 1.75%. Go to conventional, put down 3%, walk away with 3% equity. So that doesn't, I'm not bad-mouthing FHA. I do many FHA loans because there's a specific time and a place for FHA. And especially if I've got lower credit scores and I got to get you started in something, I get better interest rates at FHA. I've got lower MIP premiums on a monthly basis, and it helps you get into the house. Again, your professional consultative lender that we talked about before is going to help you with this. You may have questions. Let me know. Anyway, you are getting very close to being ready to be the first-time home buyer in 2024. God bless you.